This is the Radio 1 News update for November 3rd. I'm Lady Miriam. In local news, Cambodian customs and foreign administration officials seized over 30 kilograms of rhinoceros horn at Phnom Penh International Airport. Cambodia is not thought to be the final destination for these products from Africa. It's just used as a transit country for people working for Vietnamese traders. According to U.S. aid, a resurgence of rhino horn trade to Vietnam caused a major rhino crisis to hit Africa in 2008. The future status of rhinos in countries like Angola, Mozambique, Malawi, and Tanzania remains in doubt. Extolling forecasts that Cambodia's economy will maintain its 7% growth rate this year, Prime Minister Samdech Hun Sen reiterated a past prediction that the country would reach upper middle income status by 2030 and become a high-income country in 2050. The World Bank officially raised Cambodia's status from low income to lower middle income in July after its 2015 gross national income per capita surpassed the $1,026 threshold, reaching $1,070. The Ministry of Health said Cambodia's health service teams are ready to respond to any Zika virus threat. Ministry spokesman Lee Sovan said Cambodia is employing an existing multi-source surveillance system that includes scanners at airports and key border checkpoints to detect Zika early on. Hospitals across the country have also been ordered to report any suspected cases. City Hall has begun installing traffic lights in 3 spots along the capital's riverside to ease traffic conditions, with work expected to be completed before the upcoming Water Festival and its influx of visitors. On Monday, they installed traffic light poles in front of the night market. On Tuesday, they installed them in front of Wat Onalum and Chaktamuk Theater. They are now awaiting materials such as cameras and lights that are temporarily unavailable. I have also noticed many traffic poles on other streets such as Norodom Boulevard. So across the city, they are adding traffic lights, and hopefully it will help rather than hurt the traffic. Examination of a key piece of debris from the missing Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 has found that the aircraft was most likely in a steep dive and crashed with flaps in a retracted position, casting new doubt over theories that it was under human control. The Australian Transport Safety Bureau, overseeing the search in remote Indian Ocean waters off the country's west coast, released a report saying that examination of the wing flap debris found off Tanzania in June showed it was likely not extended when the plane entered the ocean, suggesting the aircraft wasn't in a controlled glide with the pilot or passenger at the controls. Australia has confirmed it is exploring options for conducting joint naval patrols with Indonesia in the South China Sea. In a move likely to irk Beijing, Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop indicated support for the potential exercises, saying they would help deliver peace and stability in the region. She said the patrols would be designed to exercise the right to freedom of navigation, but did not state whether they would travel within 12 nautical miles of contested islands claimed by China. One day, you're just another millennial with a travel blog on a journey to discover yourself in the Malaysian wilderness. The next, you're hopelessly lost in the jungle with only leeches for company. So was the story for 25-year-old Tasmanian backpacker Andrew Gaskell, who went missing 2 weeks ago in a remote part of Mulu National Park in Borneo. Happily, the lost hiker was rescued by local authorities. Gaskell, who was trekking by himself through a terrain full of limestone caves and gorges, was found alive and well, albeit covered in leeches and maggots and close to starvation. He reportedly survived by eating wild ferns for sustenance. The traveler had been declared missing in mid-October after failing to make contact with family and friends. who then traveled to Malaysia to help take part in the rescue mission. In international news, at least 12 Pakistani workers were killed and more than 50 injured after a huge blast ripped through an oil tanker at a shipbreaking yard, trapping others inside the vessel. The leader of a shipbreaking workers' union said fire had engulfed the vessel moored in Gadani, 45 kilometers or 28 miles northwest of the port city of Karachi. Instagram wants you to shop without always having to interrupt your scrolling and with a browser window. That's why today it will start shoppable tags on photos from 20 retail brands like Kate Spade and Jack Threads to iOS users in the US. The retailers tag products in their photos, which are hidden behind a tap to view products button. After selecting the product of their choice, users see an in-app details page with a specific product's price, description, additional photos, and a Shop Now button to buy it on the web. One of the world's biggest telescope projects might be forced to move its location to a different continent. The 30-meter telescope, or TMT, was due to be built in Hawaii, but ran into opposition with indigenous groups which consider its proposed site sacred. Now the TMT's board says a site in the Canary Islands, Spain, could act as a potential alternative. The $1.4 billion project will enable experts to study the early universe and peer into the atmospheres of exoplanets. Alaska's Bureau of Land Management regularly posts photos and videos of flying squirrels, scampering porcupines, majestic moose, or dramatic landscapes. But the video that went up last week was different. It was ominous. It was mysterious. It was the Chena River ice monster, as captured by a baffled BLM, Bureau of Land Management, employee. The video shows a strange, undulating, icy shape appearing to move through the water. The video has a dramatic soundtrack and an overlay of a camcorder, but the BLM insisted the footage itself was unedited. Previous videos posted to the Alaska BLM Facebook page have gotten a few hundred views apiece. This one quickly racked up 500,000. After all, the internet is rife with videos purporting to show strange creatures, and most are easy to dismiss as fakes. But this wasn't a random stranger with a Bigfoot story. This was footage from a government employee posted on an official site of the Land Management Agency. Facebook has a lot of theories about what it might be: a giant sturgeon, a lost shark accidentally upstream. The BLM demurred, noting that the river is practically in the middle of Alaska. A Nessie-like sea monster, a beaver-gator, whatever that might be, a chunk of moose hide waving in the current, a giant Arctic crocodile, a zombie salmon, which is an actual real-life thing. We're not making this up. It's an unusual size. A beaver towing logs, a monkey disguised as a river monster, a seal trapped in a fishing net, a pike, a sheefish, a muskie, or an eel pout. But the BLM concluded that experts at another federal agency, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, have the most compelling explanation, which is a rope. An ice-covered rope caught on a pier. One expert summed it up in just a few blunt words, telling the newspapers that the video might look cool, but the truth is just not that exciting. Well, in business news, agriculture officials and struggling smallholder tobacco farmers are cautiously hopeful that tariff exemptions granted under a new trade agreement with Vietnam will lift sagging demand for their crops. Annual tobacco yields plummeted to 2000